Hey everyone, I'm Stephanie, and I believe that the right book at the right time can change lives, and that all readers should read children's literature, especially adults. So that's what we do here on the KidLit Love podcast. We celebrate all things children's literature: picture books, early readers, middle grade, and young adult novels for readers of all ages. In each episode, we'll talk with children's literature authors and discuss their books, their hopes, their dreams for readers, their writing process, and much, much more. Whether you're an adult reading to their inner child or connecting the young readers in your life with fantastic books, you've come to the right place. So grab a notebook to build your TBR, and let's get to today's episode of KidLit Love. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the KidLit Love podcast. I'm Stephanie Affinito, your KidLit loving host, inviting you back to another bookish conversation with a children's literature author. Today I'm talking with Maddie Frost. Maddie is an award-winning and best-selling author and illustrator who has made over a dozen books for kids. You'll likely recognize titles like the Wombat series, Cats on Cats on Cats, and Little Boo. She's here today to celebrate her middle grade debut with Really, RUBIE. In it, 11-year-old Ruby Fox has to face her first time at sleepaway camp without her best friend. It's a good thing she has Jim the Duck to help her and a brand new diary to capture it all. I adored Ruby. We would be best friends in real life, and I can't wait to talk about the book with Maddie, so let's get right to the episode. Maddie, welcome to KidLit Love. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you so much for. I am so happy to be here.
I mentioned in the opening that I could have been best friends with Ruby when I was a kid. I feel like Ruby could still be my best friend as a middle-aged adult. So I can't wait to talk about the book, but I do love getting the backstory of the author as well. So I'd love to start with you and have you tell us a bit about you and your books and the journey you've taken through children's literature.
I went to college for animation because I've always loved character and storytelling. Did not plan or, have any idea of adventuring into children's literature. Didn't even consider it as a career. My senior year of college, I somehow, this is true, I entered a contest, don't remember entering it, to illustrate a children's book for a local hotel, like as a bedtime story. And it wasn't paid. I was paid a little bit, actually. I take that back. It was a small payment. And I was like freaking out because as a college student, to get paid for your artwork was like really making it
Yes.
big time. And so that whole experience, it was self-published. The whole experience just totally was like an aha moment for me of like, I think I want to venture into this because it's everything I love, but in picture book form. So that happened, and then life happened. I had no idea how to get into the publishing world. So I started teaching elementary art for a while, and then one year I was sort of had this conversation with my partner, and he was like, "What do you really want to do?" I was feeling a little stuck, so I didn't go back to teaching the next summer. I mean, the next fall. I ended up finding an agent, and I gave myself 6 months to try and get some work as an illustrator. Started getting small projects, and it really was just like saying yes to everything, even though, they weren't the most exciting projects, lots of like baby books and board books, and just I was really just learning as I went. And eventually, time went by and year after year, and I was staying afloat financially. I started writing and I started sharing with my agent. My agent shared it to editors, and yeah, and it's just been
I love that.
just constant, yeah, constant, just working and making stuff and sharing it and growing. Like I really just threw myself into the fire and learned as I went. I had no idea what I was doing.
I love stories like that.
Yeah.
I've said this on the podcast before, but every time I hear a story like that, where you took a risk, you went for it, gave yourself a 6 month window to figure it out. It's so inspiring. It's like a permission slip for all of us to ask ourselves that same thing and then perhaps take that same risk and now have one other person in our mental list of mentors that did it, right? You said yes, you kept saying yes, even if it wasn't a heck yes, and eventually, you learn the ropes and you go in the direction you want to go. I just
Yeah, I think
that.
there's just like when you tell yourself there's no plan B, you really just do everything. And I remember, you know, before I even knew that I could ask for an extension on a deadline, I would be up till like 6 in the morning, like, and then, sleeping the rest of the day. I think I really just wanted it to make it happen and to make it work. And, I think it's been almost a decade now. Now I have almost like a 12 or so of my own books written and illustrated.
Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy to see time too in a physical form. I can remember where I was or where I was living, what was going on in my life with each book.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
like
cool to see that.
yeah, it's like, when a song or a smell will bring you back. Now you can look at your books and remember the phase of life that you were in. Wow.
Totally.
So taking a risk to over 12 books and
Hmm.
now celebrating the middle grade debut. Tell me about the differences
Oh
between
my gosh.
writing your earlier books and now writing this middle grade debut. Before we even get into it, I just want to know what that process shift was like for you.
Yeah, well, I think sometimes so it started because I think I had kind of maxed out with picture books. I was in a place where I felt maxed out. I had written a lot, illustrated a lot. I had done the graphic novel space, and that kicked my butt. Um, and so I was really like, well, what's next? Like, what's my next thing? What's my next challenge? And I knew I had always wanted to make a diary format book. I kept diaries as a tween, and and so I thought like maybe I could bring this experience I had from going to summer camp when I was 12 into a story. And and so this writing Ruby was definitely the most personal thing I've ever written. A lot of what happens in the story is true.
Oh,
Um,
really?
oh,
Ooh,
really?
now I
Yeah,
can't wait to
I
ask you the
know.
things
And
I
you can
want to
ask
ask
me.
you.
I will indeed tell you if it's true. I know. And she really is a reflection. She's definitely me. I get asked sometimes, what's similar about you and Ruby, what's different? And I think the main thing is that she really knows to some extent who she is.
Mhm.
I think she is really intense with her likes and her dislikes and stuff like that, where I was way more of a friend chameleon. Because growing up, you're just like
Yeah,
whatever your friends
had
are
to
into,
be.
you're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I like them all. Like I hated them all. So yeah, and so I really put a lot of myself into her, and I know that readers are gonna just connect with her so
They
much.
are. They are. And soon after we give listeners a bit of background in the book, I will rapid fire some questions about which things are true and
Okay.
which things are not. But since we mentioned notebooks, we mentioned diaries, we mentioned journal, I have a rule that anytime
Mhm.
I found out someone kept a diary or keeps one, I have to ask them, do you have a favorite notebook, a kind of notebook that you are
Mm.
writing in? Because we usually have very particular tastes, and I'm curious.
Oh, you mean like what does the notebook look like?
Yes. Is it a
Oh my
certain
gosh.
kind? Like, tell me.
Let me just say, like, picking out a notebook is stressful because and it takes a long time. It has to feel right in your hands. The
Yes.
pages have to feel a certain way. It has to like you have to open it and smell it.
Yes, you do. You do. You have to
Right?
see
And
how it
it can't be too
balances on your
big. It can't be
palm.
Yes, and you have to sort of envision yourself. It's almost like the notebook you choose is matters because it'll affect what is in the pages. Right?
Yeah.
Like if like it's almost like the universe, it just all depends on this choice.
Yeah.
So yeah, it took me a lot. I mean, it took me a long time to pick out notebooks, and it still does. Mostly, I don't journal that much anymore. I doodle a lot and I draw a lot. But also like having a toddler really doesn't allow you much time to reflect on your feelings.
Very true. That
Yeah.
is that is
So
very true.
yeah, but I love a good notebook hunt. Oh, it's so thrilling.
It is. And Donald Graves, who was a leading writing teacher for elementary students, which I used to be an elementary reading specialist, and
Hmm.
he used to say, and I used to do it, you need to go on a field trip to choose your notebook. You have to open it, feel the weight, feel the cover, feel the page. You have to smell it. You have to pretend
Yes.
that you're writing in it. And only
Yes.
notebookers really understand the
It's
joy
so
and
true.
pain of choosing.
Oh, and you know what's equally as important to getting the notebook is you have to have the perfect pen,
Do.
right?
They do. And that may
It's got to
depend
go
on the
on
paper you've
smooth.
chosen.
Oh my gosh, 100%. And it can't smudge because if
Yes.
you ruin that new notebook, your life is just
It's over.
ruined. It's over. It is over.
Oh, I knew I was going to be talking with a fellow notebooker who got that because
Totally.
the book is the notebook. The book is the diary. The book is lined like this beautiful notebook with her words, with her doodles, with her thoughts, her feelings, all of it. And there's just something so wonderful about opening that first page and realizing, oh, this is the format of this book. And it sounds like it was always going to be that. That was what you wanted to do. And I
Yeah,
love.
that was always there wasn't any other like I didn't even try to play around with any other ideas. It was just like I knew right away it would be on line pages. They would be actually that font is I made it from my handwriting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's in I actually have made it. It's in a few of my other picture books. But and I knew that it's interesting because there's the font in the book, like the text font, and then there's my actual handwriting, which is like a lot of her dialogue speech bubbles.
Yeah.
If you see any type of vibe anywhere, like embarrassment vibes, that's in my handwriting. And there was some discussion about, making my handwriting just part of like a text or a font. And I actually said, no, you know what? Like it is just such part of the art
Yeah.
that we have to leave it and I think I'm so glad we did because it just gives it that much another layer of such like realness
Yeah.
and authenticity. So
Yeah.
yeah, I hope readers really like just feel like they're just really reading her journal.
They will. And as a reader, I really appreciated that because I know in my journal, I do attempt to write a certain way when I'm writing in long form and capturing something. But when I allow myself to go off script and to doodle, the writing just naturally changes. So this was the feel in your hands of this was Ruby's, like this was Ruby's notebook.
Yes. Yeah,
I loved
totally.
it. So, with that, now that listeners know this is a notebook, this is a beautiful format, give them an overview of Really Ruby and what they can expect if they were to pick it up.
Okay, so this is a diary that belongs to 11-year-old Ruby Fox. She is going to summer camp in Vermont, an all-girls camp, with her best friend, partner in crime, Riley. And so they're like about to go, so excited to be bunking together and having this awesome experience away from home, away from their parents, until Riley calls Ruby with some horrible news and she broke her ankle trying on her mom's high heels for the dance, as you do when you're a tween, and so she can't go. And so Ruby is doesn't want to go. She goes from one high emotion to just complete despair,
Mhm.
and so she has to go, and it is it is really rough in the beginning. It's such an out of her comfort zone experience. She does everything with Riley. She really has to decide whether or not she's going to sink or swim in the situation. Even though the book is set at summer camp, I would say it's not really about summer camp. This book is about finding your people. It's about listening to your own heart, your own voice. It's about going outside your comfort zone and meeting and choosing to meet, the universe, so to speak, halfway to make friends. And and I think if you do that, your internal growth will just explode. And that is what Ruby goes through. And there's, of course, a lot of drama and crush stealing and and all that good
Um,
stuff. Yeah. Yeah. And it's based on a true story.
So, okay. So when I first read this, as I said, I feel like Ruby and I would have been great friends. And I know if I were Ruby and my best friend suddenly couldn't go to sleepaway camp, I would have done anything to get my Zumba loving cheerleader mom to let me stay home. Like, this would have been my worst nightmare as a child. I never went to sleepaway camp for a reason. I was that shy, scared, oh my gosh, don't put me out of my comfort zone kind of girl. So I like viscerally felt for Ruby and was so proud before I even know what was going to happen that yep, she's going. She may not want to at first, but she is. And
Yeah.
she has this, after a little bit of maybe a rough start, this, and I always determine how much do I say to not spoil things, but she
Right.
has this beautiful mindset that says, you know what?
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm worried about disappointing the friends at home and then
Mm,
worrying about the new people here, but I'm here and I'm going to make the best of it. And that's when the
yeah.
fun and some of the shenanigans and some of the
Yes.
mix-ups really begin. And it was such a beautiful lesson for me,
Mhm.
who
Yeah.
needed
You
it
know
to.
what? Totally, that's so true, and it's hard. She's super conflicted because she and Riley had made before they went this list, right? This promise list called the Two's Truce. The ultimate two stands for TUCE, the ultimate camp experience, and they have like 5 things that they have to do while they're at camp together. And now that Riley isn't there, like Riley really doesn't want her to do anything on the special list at camp without her until next year, next summer when they go together. And so it's sort of like, I think friendships at a young age, they really do feel like almost like a marriage. Like you are so like bound to that other person and you don't want to let them down. You don't want to disappoint them. You don't want to lie to them,
Yeah.
and it is hard, it is really hard when you want to do something for yourself, but it may let somebody else down. And that's so tough.
It is. And not only tough, I think what a lot of us would do, what I would have done, would have probably gotten mad at the one friend for making me still be here but not have any fun. I would have gotten mad at myself for putting myself in the situation, mad at the new friends for not understanding the situation I was in. And instead, Maddie showed us, or well, you did, but Ruby
Oh,
showed
I know, right?
us
It's
a
okay.
better
You can
way.
call me Ruby. That's a great compliment.
Yeah, just such a friend, such a role model, I think, for readers to navigate this really tricky friendship time and to show that friendships can change and grow as
Mm,
which is key.
yeah, big time, big time.
Now, there's a lot of fun in the book, right? There are these personal transformations and this wonderful learning on the part of Ruby's, but there's some fun. There are some shenanigans, there are some things.
Mhm.
And so now is the Q&A, Maddie, where I ask
Okay, I'm ready.
which one. So, underwear.
Yes.
Oh my good gosh.
Yes.
So you lost the underwear at a pivotal moment.
I did. Yeah. And some girl, I came out from the bathroom and some girl was like, "Excuse me, are these? I think you dropped these." Also, again about the underwear, there's a part where Ruby was in first grade. This is how her and Riley met, where her her dress got stuck into her tights when she on picture day when she went to the bathroom and she came back and her underwear was exposed to the class. That happened to me.
I hate to say I've been there too, Maddie.
Oh my gosh. And so now every time I leave the bathroom with a dress on and I'm wearing I'm doing the tuck, right? I'm checking my
Yes.
butt to see if my underwear is up because you have to do that because after that you're scarred for life.
Yes, you do.
It's so
I actually,
true.
yeah. So I'm a teacher educator at a university now, and we just had commencement, and I had to use the restroom, and so I'm walking out with my big, giant regalia, and then I run back in, and I'm like, please, someone just look. Please just tell me that like everything where it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
And yeah, we have to have each other's back in that manner.
it's very true. Yeah, it's like I feel like it's just a friend code that you just need to make sure that
Yes.
they're looking out for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I have to ask about Owen. Because
Okay.
I've got some issues with Owen. As
I
readers,
know,
we have
right?
some issues with Owen. And I don't necessarily want to tell them
Sure.
exactly what happens with Owen because it is
Hmm.
a part, it's a great part of the book to
It's a
uncover.
surprise,
No?
right?
But
Yeah.
was there an Owen in your experience?
Yeah. Yes, kind of. It kind of happened the other way around where I had a really big crush, and then my best friend, my Riley in the situation,
Mm,
kind of kind of stole him.
gotcha.
So, inspired by a real situation. But yeah, I thought flipping it would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why readers can really feel this book because it's literally coming from your feelings. Like you are
It
going
really
back to your 11-year-old self and kind of recreating
I
some
know.
of this through the eyes of Ruby, which is
Yeah,
why it is just so easy to get into Ruby's world.
I know. And do you want to know something crazy? Is that so this camp still exists. And I went 25 years ago, and this summer I'm going back to the camp to like
Wow.
yes, I know. The camp director totally entertained the idea of me coming and like talking to some of the campers, and we're gonna make friendship bracelets. And how wild is that?
That's the best. That is the
I
best, most
know.
wonderful full circle
I know. I know.
kind of moment. Is there a water
Hmm.
slide?
I don't know if it's so there's so many things that have changed, so
That
I'll
would
have
be
to
fun.
find out. But there was a water slide when I was there.
There was. So that was true too?
No, that was not true.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah. But I
Well,
needed one.
fully
I feel like
listeners.
yeah, we're not gonna tell you that embarrassing moment, but just think like bikini and a water slide, and we'll leave it at that.
Yes, we'll leave it
Yeah,
at that, and they have to read it. Yeah. So
but
I,
totally possible, right? Like is totally possible
it is totally possible,
with like a hot counselor there working the slide, right?
of course. Of
Totally.
course, yeah.
Oh God.
I hate to admit, it didn't happen on a water slide, but in a big old wave in the ocean. Yes,
Oh no. Did you get it back?
I did. Thank
Oh
goodness.
my God, good.
So this book brought up so I
Really?
was
Yeah.
in it with
You
Ruby.
were
I
yeah,
was
you basically lived it.
yeah.
That's
And
so
like I
funny.
said, what I love the most, and I will not reveal, the ending or some of the things that happen, but you just go on the journey with Ruby. And
Hmm.
as you said in the beginning, it's about saying yes. It's your story is about saying yes and figuring it out. And Ruby's story here is about saying yes and figuring it out and staying true to herself and
Hmm.
overcoming overcoming so many of the fears that I had as a kid and really bringing that saying to life to bloom where you're planted, right? She didn't want to be here,
Hmm.
but she made the best of it in the most fun way.
Yeah, and I think that like anytime you're in a situation out of your comfort zone, if you choose to, you know, kind of like pursue it to the best of your ability, like the only outcome is growth. Whether it's like you can't not grow from being in a new situation.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like the biggest thing that was important to me to convey in this story is if you just if you just like just trust everything and say yes, and you never know. And even with her friendships, like she meets these girls called the Pinkies, and they're like so sweet, but they're just not exactly her cup of tea.
Yeah.
They're really into makeup and stuff like that, and that's totally fine. You know what? I have so many friends who are very into that kind of stuff. And I think, she does find someone who is more like she vibes with more. But in the end, like the Pinkies really help her on her journey.
Yeah.
They almost are like her fairy godmothers in a way, like beautifying her for the dance and giving her so much confidence. And we need those people
Yeah.
in our lives. So yeah, I think too, even with new acquaintances and stuff like that, it's important just to stay open-minded.
Yes. Yes. Now, when you think about your hopes for the book and for
Mhm.
the readers who get it, is there something in addition to what you've just mentioned that you hope as this book finally gets out into the world?
I know I'm so excited. I think it's to just to be yourself. And even if like you don't really know what that is yet, whatever, like stick to your gut. It's okay to be you. Don't turn your volume down for anybody. I feel like I learned that so much later in life, trying to match other people's wavelengths of energy, of charisma, or just character. And I just sometimes it just made me get so lost. And I think just listen to your own heart and be your true self, and that's that's perfect.
There's no better lesson to learn at this age to take with you
Honestly,
moving
it's so
forward.
true. And it's so hard to be yourself at a young age and during adolescence. Like I've lived it. It's really hard.
Yeah.
But if you can find the people who bring that out in you, those are the people worth holding on to, and you can let the rest go.
Yes, and if they don't have someone in their real life, then
Mhm.
Ruby can act like that in the
I
fiction
hope
world.
so. And she's always there for you if you're
Yeah.
listening. And I hope, you keep her on your nightstand,
Yes.
if you get lonely.
Yes. Next to your
Yeah.
journal so that you can
Yes, of
write
course.
just like
Right.
just like Ruby.
Totally. Yeah.
Now, the most exciting thing I think that we haven't mentioned is that
Mm.
there's more, right? There's
Yes.
another book. So tell
Of
us,
course.
tell us.
Yeah. So I have written, the story is written, and I'm working on, so this is how it works. I write the whole manuscript first, and I don't even think about the art at all. And then I go in and I start copying and pasting some of the text. And then I have a designer who makes it look a lot nicer, but then I kind of go in and I will just draw whatever I want. And so I'm in the process now of drawing book two artwork. I'm about halfway through. And so this one is about Ruby enters sixth grade. She also turns 12. There is a new girl that Riley has befriended while Ruby was away at camp. And there's some friction there
Hmm.
because Ruby isn't super into this new friend, and you'll see why. Also, there is the big dilemma is that there's this online zine that the sixth grade has that you can submit like art to and stuff. And so Ruby really wants to submit she wants to start her own comic, but she's way too insecure to do it. So she makes a fake name. She submits anonymously, and somebody in her orbit takes credit for it, and it turns into a whole thing. Not to mention, there's a new crush, and there's more breaking and entering into into places, more sneaking out in the middle of the night. Yes, there's that. And just owning her feelings, owning her art, and I think that we really get into Ruby's like personal world so much more. Her school life, home life, friend life. We really just get like a big sort of magnifying glass into that. And I really hope readers will love it, if not more than the first one.
I can't wait. I can't wait. Ruby will sit on my nightstand as a reminder to, be myself and have courage and bloom where I'm
Amazing.
planted. So to get more and to keep the story going, that was the best news that you shared, that there's another one that can continue the adventures. Congratulations. This is
Oh, thank you so
exciting.
much. I am so happy. I could write middle grade forever. Like I really just found such it just feels so comfortable, so me and so right. Not that my other books didn't, but it just feels like I'm really contributing my whole self into this, and it's wild to see like just so much of my personal life, my childhood out in public.
Your whole self is in this book.
I know it's crazy, but I think it's so important to do that, to connect, to really connect with readers, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Well, it worked. It worked.
thanks.
It
Thank you.
connected with me very deeply on adult levels and childhood levels, and will be sitting on my shoulder for a long time.
Oh my goodness, thank you.
Now, where's the best place for listeners to find you online so that they can take a look at your backlist, talk,
Mm,
see all the things really Ruby, and then of course stay in touch for when the next book arrives?
yeah, sure. So, my website is maddie-frost.com, and then I'm on Instagram at hello Maddie Frost, and I post just like upcoming events, uh, just lots of funny stuff. If you like, I make little comics about my daughter. Her name is Birdie, and I draw her as a bird. So that's a really funny thing to check out. And yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
just,
another book.
well, yeah,
Should be
wink,
another
wink.
book. Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I will
Yeah, thank
I
you.
will put links to your website, to your Instagram, of course, to Really Ruby in the show notes. I just want to thank you for a great conversation. This was wonderful. I just loved your book and I'm so excited to be part of you launching it into the world.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, I hope readers. I also dedicated the book to my new readers. So this is for all of you listening, and I hope you enjoy it.
That is so special. Oh, thank you again. And listeners, thank you for listening to another episode of KidLit Love, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for listening to today's episode of the KidLit Love podcast. You'll find links to all of the books, resources, and ideas mentioned in the show notes and at alitlife.com. You'll also find KidLit Love on Substack. That's where you'll find posts for each episode, monthly KidLit roundups, and an invitation to join my summer book club and go deeper into the world of children's literature. And if you loved this podcast and want more, you might like to listen to my other podcast called Get Literate. It's a podcast that explores all things books and reading, notebooks and writing to build a life you love. One more thing. If you loved what you listened to today, please take a moment to rate and review the podcast or take a screenshot of the episode and text it to a friend. This helps the podcast grow and builds our bookish community of Kid Lit Love. Thanks for listening.